Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace, and today's session is the editorial discussion and analysis, but with a different approach altogether. As I told you earlier, today's session will be a error spotting approach towards the editorial of The Hindu. So let me see if some students are live with me in a live chat. Well, I'm sure the session has started, right? Okay. Yes, Aravind, hi, how are you, Aravind? Very good evening, very good evening. So, today is an error spotting approach towards the Hindu editorial. So, I will not focus very much on the word meanings because the word meanings are already very easy in this editorial, in this part of the editorial. So, the words are very easy. The only thing I have done is I have introduced many common errors in the passage which you have to identify. Yes, Arvind, good evening. Shivani, yes, hi, good evening, sir. Good evening, Shivani. So, let me start this session because it's already 7:01. So, we will take at least by 7:45 the session will end, I guess. So, thorough discussion of the editorial, February 8, today's newspaper editorial from The Hindu. So, this is the passage name, When the Music Stops. So, 9 people are live. I would suggest everyone to remain with me till the end of the session, because it's going to be a very special one. Okay, how many of you attended today's morning session at 11 o'clock? So how many of you attended the morning session? I'm not sure if Shivani was there. I'm not sure. Regin was there. Regin. Okay. Well, so this is the passage. Yeah. So the passage starts with, at the wake of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK. At the wake of the intensifying, is the word, Partygate scandal in the UK, 5 close aides, this means partners in an activity, AIDS means that, and scandal, scandal is something which is controversial. 5 close aides of Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned, putting the Conservative Party and their leadership in a tight spot over their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and their adherence with the associated restrictions by public gatherings. So this is the first part of the passage. So I will ask you, yes, good evening, Danny Vijay Balan, okay. Okay, so tell me the errors in this part, from at the wake of till the gatherings. What are the errors can you see? Tell me that there are certain errors in the passage. Good evening, Tamil Arasi. There are certain errors in the passage. So let me know the errors. So first of all, I'll hint you, this is in the wake of, not at the wake of. In the wake of means as a consequence of. As a consequence of, result of. So, in the wake of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK, means as a consequence of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK, in the wake of, as a consequence of. Yes, Murugan, I hope you have got your answer, Muthu Murugan. Okay, so in the wake of means as a consequence of. The intensifying means increasing in intensity. Intensifying means increasing in intensity. Partygate scandal. Partygate scandal happened in the UK. 5 close partners or members or partners of the Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned. So this should be have resigned. This should be have resigned. Because it's talking about 5 close aides. Now I think you have understood how I have introduced the errors in the passage. So in the wake of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK, 5 close aides of Prime Minister Boris Johnson have resigned. So these are the 2 errors that I told you now. First one was in the wake of, which means as a consequence of, and the second one is have, which shouldn't be has. Okay. So 2 errors you have identified. We have identified 2 errors. Fine. Now let us move to the next part. Resign. Putting the Conservative Party and their leadership in a tight spot over their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Till here we will discuss. Let me just increase, let me put my phone to charge. Just give me 1 second. Yes, student. Yes, students. So tell me the error, the next part of the error. Okay. So till now we have understood that the error was in has and in the wake of putting the Conservative Party and their leadership and its leadership. Since see how wonderful the errors are. Its leadership means the leadership of the Conservative Party. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? So in the wake of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK, 5 close aides of Prime Minister Boris Johnson have resigned, putting the Conservative Party and its leadership in a tight spot. Tight spot mean in a difficult situation. In a difficult situation. So tight spot means difficult situation. Tight spot over their handling. This is there is correct because it talks about the members, and this is it's because it talks about the party. Clear? It talks about the party. So its leadership in a tight spot over their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and their adherence with the associated restrictions by public gatherings. So again, the third error is, I would say the fourth error would be associated to adherence to. So if I say I adhere to the rules of the land, the law of the land. If I say I adhere to the law of the land, which means I follow the law of the land. So adherence is followed by to. So now the question, the paragraph becomes, in the wake of the intensifying Partygate scandal in the UK, the 5 close aides of the Prime Minister Boris Johnson have resigned, putting the Conservative Party and its leadership because it talks about the party, right, in a tight spot, in a difficult situation. Over their handling is correct because they talk about the party members of the COVID-19 pandemic and their adherence to. Adhere means what? Sticking to something. Helping. Somebody says helping. Okay, well, let me see. Adherence to the associated restrictions by public gatherings. This should be on public gatherings. I'll tell you why. The associated restrictions on public gathering. Public gathering is not an agent. It's not an agency that is causing the restrictions. So handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and their adherence to the associated restrictions on public gatherings. So it's about the bad handling on the public gatherings, restrictions associated on the public gatherings. Clear? So it should be on the public gatherings. Somebody is saying helping. Where is it helping? Let me see. The 5 senior members of Mr. Johnson's office, including Chief of Staff Dan Rosenfield, quitted last week. Do you see there's an error in this quitted? Tell me, quitted. What should the correct use? Adherence means sticking. Have you not heard adhesive and cohesive? Fevicol is an adhesive. That sticks together, adhesive. So adherence means sticking to the associated restrictions on public gatherings. Clear? Muthu Murugan, is it correct? Is it fine with you? Okay. Well, so this quitted should be actually quit last week. This is the third form of the verb. Quit, quitting, quits. No, quitted is the word. Okay? Quitted is not the word. Quit is the correct form. Rosenfield quit last week following an... Yes, okay, fine. So it should be quit, not quitted. Quit last week following an incriminating inquiry of multiple social gatherings that took place at number 10 Downing Street. Till now, what's the error? From here to here, from quit to this part. Quit last week following, yes, quit is Danny, yes, you are right, Danny. Quit last week following an incrementing inquiry into something, multiple social gatherings that took place at number 10 Downing Street from the early days of the pandemic, when tight lockdown regulations were imposed across the UK, limiting all such parties. So this is right. Now I think you have understood what I am trying to say. So this paragraph had at least 10 errors. So when we move to the next paragraph, you have to identify the error. You have to tell me the error. Okay. So as on, inquiry into. Fine. So till now we have found out all the errors in this passage. Now we will move to the next part of the passage. Now this has again 10 to 15 errors. 10 to 15 errors it contains. Okay. So I'll start. I won't expect many of you to answer. So let us start the discussion on this second part. There's some my mobile connectivity issue, just a moment. Okay. So I'm back on the YouTube. Well, the scandal, you all try your best. All of you please try your best to solve the attending to. Wonderful Danny, wonderful. So it should not be attending to, it should be attending. Only attending. Very good, Danny. So I'll attribute this to you. So Danny has given this answer. I've given you smiley. Teachers used to give us smiley. Do you remember? Teachers used to give us smileys. Well, so attending. So the scandal gained momentum. Momentum means what? Mass into velocity. You know that's called as momentum. Means this certain speed kind of thing, pushed by certain force. So that is what I will say. The scandal gained momentum after UK media published reports, including photographs of senior members of Mr. Johnson's team attending several parties held around June 2020. Till now, we have seen only one error being identified. There can be more errors than that. Held on. Was banned. Yes, Shivani. Very good, Shivani. When gatherings of more than 2 people indoor were banned. It should be were banned. Very good. So this goes to Shivani. Shivani. You are correct. Okay, so it says the scandal gained momentum after UK media published reports, including photographs of senior members of Mr. Johnson's team, attending several parties held around June 2020. A time where gatherings of more than 2 people indoors were banned. Any more errors do you see? There's a very big error over here. There's a big error over here. In this zone, there's an error. This zone. There's an error. Tell me the error. There's a big error. This should be when. At a time when gatherings of more than 2 people indoors were banned. Am I right or wrong? Tell me. Am I right or wrong? A time when gatherings of more than 2 people indoors were banned. Following the expected outrage. Outrage means protest. Outrage means protest. Yes, Jaya Bharti says when. Very good. Okay, so it should be when gatherings of more than 2 people indoors were banned following the expected outrage in parliament and the initiation. Outrage means protest, initiation means start or beginning of something, and the initiation of a police investigation last week. A report by Sue Gray, second permanent secretary, were published. So this is not were, but it should be was. I'll tell you why. Because it's a report by Sue Gray. Celebration of, somebody says celebration of. Where is celebration? No, this is correct. Sorry, Muthu Murugan. This is Gibson Richard said yes, sir. Okay. Was, yes, this should be was. Because it talks about a report, right? Her report found that 16 events took place between May 2020 to April 2021. From here to here, there's one error. Tell me, there's one error between from here her report to this place. There's one error. Tell me. There's an error from this to this place. Anyone? Anyone would like to try? Okay, I'll tell you. I'm not getting answers. Break, found that was no. The error is her report found that 16 events took place between May 2020 and, this should be and. Yes, Jaya Bharti said and. Very good, Jaya Bharti, yes. Very good. And is the correct answer. Ratna Varsha says drinks. No, drinks event is correct, Ratna Varsha. Only Jaya Bharti told us the right answer. Between is followed by and, not to. Between is followed by and. So if I have to say, please come and meet me between 7 and 8. And I am available from 7 to 8. I am available from 7 to 8 here. Meet me between 7 and 8. This is the difference, okay? Sandil Kumar, good evening. So, Jaya Bharti, congratulations. Very good answer. So, it should be and. Okay, we missed one error in the previous slide. I remember now. We missed one error here. I'll just rub all the errors. The previous I have rubbed everything, okay? So, of the pandemic, when the tight lockdown regulations had been imposed, this should be had been. I'll tell you why. This is the previous slide. Explain once again, sir. Gibson Richard. Gibson, which one? Between? Okay, I'll tell you. But before that, the previous slide. From the early days of the pandemic, when tight lockdown regulations had been imposed across the UK, limiting all such parties. So, had been is used when something is for a longer duration. Had been imposed, and it happens earlier. So, whatever happened, the party gate scandal. It happened after the imposition of the lockdown regulation. So, had been should represent the initial and the first event of the lockdown imposition. Then happened the party gate scandal. Okay. The next one. Gibson Richard says, explain once again, sir. Okay. Richard, come and meet me between 6 and 7. Means from 6 to 7 I am available. You meet me between 6 and 7. Anytime between 6 and 7. But I am here from 6 to 7. So from 6 to 7 is like from 6 to 7. Meet me between 6 and 7. Any time between 6 and 7. Getting my point? So between is followed by and. Okay. So we say I met him. The doctor has asked me to meet him between 6 and 7, between 4 and 5, this way. Okay. Okay. So in the Downing Street garden attended with Mr. Johnson, please, her report found that 16 events took place between May 2020 and April 2021, including a drinks event in the Downing Street garden attended with Mr. Johnson, attended by Mr. Johnson, attended by Mr. Johnson. That's the controversy, right? That's the controversy. Attended by Mr. Johnson on May 2020, and a birthday celebration for Mr. Johnson in the cabinet room on June 19, 2020. On June 19. It's clear, right? We don't say in June 19, 2020. We say on June 19, 2020. This should be in. It should be on June 19, 2020. Is it clear to you? See how many errors we have found. We have found one error over here, when, then two here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 errors in this slide. Okay, so I'll rub all these errors now. I'll rub all these errors because we will come back to these questions, the passage once again. Okay. Now the third part of the passage on June 19. Exactly. Kishore Shiva. Okay. The scandal has been rocked the confidence of Conservative MPs in this Prime Minister's capacity of leading. What is the error in this part? The scandal has been rocked the confidence of Conservative MPs in his Prime Minister's capacity. What's the error in this part? Tell me the error. This bean should be removed. Has only. Correct. Who is this girl called Jaya Bharati? Wonderful. I hope you're not taking reference from the Hindu newspaper. Danny also has given the right answer. Only has rocked, not has been rocked. So Jaya Bharati, congratulations. Wonderful performance. So till now you're given only right answers. I'm sure you're not taking reference from the Hindu because all your answers are correct. Very good. Wonderful. So it should be has rocked. The scandal has rocked the confidence of conservative MPs in their Prime Minister's capacity. In their why this bean is removed? Because it's an active voice. The scandal has rocked the confidence. It's an active voice. The scandal has rocked the confidence of Conservative MPs in their confidence of Conservative MPs in their Prime Minister's capacity of leading. So if I say I have lost my confidence I've lost confidence in your capacity of leading me, and you will say, sir, we have lost our confidence in your capacity of leading you all, leading us. So this will be there because it talks about the Conservative MPs, right? So in their Prime Minister's capacity of leading. Now the next part, this has two errors. Bean should be removed and there it should come there, not his. Okay. Even though Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries insisted on a vast majority of them still support Mr. Johnson. Some, such as Stephen Hammond, has said that they are considering very carefully. So from here to here, what's the error? From here to here, what's the error? Insisted. Okay? Insisted. Even though Culture Secretary Nadine Doris insisted on wonderful, Muthu Murugan actually insisted there's no problem in that. Bharat Narayana says in his. Yeah, that's incorrect. It should be in their Prime Minister's capacity of leading. Okay. So the error is, it should not be on, it should be that. Now the question becomes, even though Culture Secretary Nadine Doris insisted that a vast majority of them still support Mr. Johnson. Some, so this is some such as Stephen Hammond have said, because it's talking about some. So some such as Stephen Hammond have said that they are considering very carefully whether he still has confidence in the PM, especially because telling the truth matters, and none more so than in the House of Commons. So this part has a major error. Can any one of you solve this error from especially to the House of Commons? Insisted that, not by Muthu Murugan. It's insisted that a vast majority of. So from especially to Commons, House of Commons, can anyone identify the error in it? Can anyone identify the error in it from especially to House of Commons? So not used. Oh my God. Okay, I'll give you an example. I feel that you are a very good boy. Have I used so, Muthu Murugan? Don't go by rules, go by reading as well sometimes. I'm so happy that I will dance. This is a different thing. But I know that you are a very wonderful student. So I know that. That's no more. None. Yes, Shiveni, very close. Subhashini also very close, no more. Actually, it should be nowhere. Because it's talking about in the House of Commons. Wonderful, nowhere. Jai Bharati, very good. None not used. Okay, very good. Everyone was correct. Shiveni says none is wrong. Subhashini Ramachandran says no more. Jai Bharati says nowhere. Because especially because telling the truth matters, and nowhere more so than in the House of Commons. So is correct. Nowhere is more so. It's used like this. See, telling the truth matters, and nowhere more so than in the House of Commons. This way it is used. Okay. Now, Mr. Johnson has written to all Conservative MPs committing to improve the way 10 Downing Street works. It has an error. Tell me the error. Mr. Johnson has written to all Conservative MPs committing to improve. Tell me the error. Committing to improving. Have. Muthu Murugan says have. Mr. Johnson have written no. Has is correct. So the error is, Mr. Johnson has written to all Conservative MPs committing to improving the way 10 Downing Street works. It should be improving. Why? Committing to is followed by gerund. Prior to is followed by gerund. When it comes to is followed by gerund. Looking forward to is followed by gerund. Means I'm looking forward to meeting you all. I'm looking forward to meeting you all. He came prior to, no, I'll tell you. Submit the fees prior to joining the school. When it comes to helping others, he is always at the forefront. Somebody says way off, okay. Conservative MP is committing to improving the way 10 down, way off, no. Committing the way 10 Downing Street works, but now follow this part. But it appears that MPs are far from convinced that there was sufficient justification to hold these drinking parties at number 10 when the nation was being faced lockdowns. So this part has an error. Just give me 1 second. This part has an error. And the error is, no, somebody says way off. Danny Vijay Balan says way off. The way of 10 Downing Street works. No, when we say committing to improving the way Danny works, Danny Vijay Balan works. Similarly, the way India works, the way this college works, the way VerandaRace works, not the way of VerandaRace works, okay? But it appears that MPs are far from convinced that there was sufficient justification to hold these drinking parties at number 10 when the nation was facing. Bharat Narayanan says far from has an error. Let us see what the error is. But it appears that the MPs are far from convinced. No, I don't think there's an error in this. I'm sure, Bharat. If you could take the reference of the newspaper, I'm sure there's no error in this. Error is in the last part. The nation was facing lockdowns, not being faced. Yes, Muthu Murugan, facing is the correct answer. Shivani says facing, correct answer. Nation was facing lockdowns. Lockdowns were being faced by the nation. The nation was facing lockdowns. This is active and passive. So guys, next we have one more passage left. But before that, I would like to tell you, how many of you want to know how to score 30 out of 30 in English section? Tell me. I will give you a 5-minute lecture on this, because most of my students 5 years or 6 years ago who are in SBI right now, they had scored 28.75, 30 out of 30 in SBI PO prelims. So I will tell you, I'll keep a session on that. At the last 5 minutes a session on that. Just remind me. Okay, Bharat, no, there's no error. So this is far from my experience. Means it is not under the jurisdiction of my experience. Yeah. I'll tell you. Okay. So let us complete this. Next, we move to the next segment, the last part. This has lot of errors. Specifically, this events. So it should be these events. Specifically, these events have endangered to public health, damaged public perception of the government, and its commitment to pandemic regulations. Any errors? Okay. So endangered, this 2 shouldn't be here. This 2 should not be here. So specifically, these events have endangered. Endangered means put to danger. If I say I will endanger you, I'll put you into danger. So specifically, these events have endangered public health, damaged public perception of the government, and its commitment to pandemic regulations. Okay. And demonstrated failure to explore alternate pandemic compliant means to transact business. Okay. And demonstrated failure to explore alternate. This alternate should be actually alternative. Alternative pandemic compliant means to transact business. Alternative means which is as an option, which is another option. Alternate means Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. These are alternate days, right? So one leaving another, the next one is alternate. But alternative means what choice do we have in life? That is alternative. Alternative. So, and demonstrated failure to explore alternative. Pandemic compliant means that follows or agrees with something. So if I am compliant to your orders, I'll follow your orders. Okay. So what it says, and demonstrated failure to explore alternative pandemic compliant means to transact business. Transact means doing transactions. Okay. Moving ahead. The most ominous means very unlucky, inauspicious. The most ominous sign of Mr. Johnson's deteriorating means degenerating, reducing, diminishing. The most ominous sign of Mr. Johnson's deteriorating prospects of continuing as a PM are the MPs who have reportedly submit a letter of no confidence to Sir Graham Brady, chair of the 1922 Committee of Backbench MPs. If 54 MPs submit such letters to Sir Graham, it will trigger a vote on Mr. Johnson's leadership of the party. So these are only very few errors were there. I'll read it again for you. Specifically, these events have endangered public health, damaged public perception of the government and its commitment to pandemic regulations, and demonstrated failure to explore alternative pandemic compliant means to transact business. The most ominous sign of Mr. Johnson deteriorating prospects of continuing as a PM are the MPs who have reportedly submitted a letter of no confidence to Sir Graham Brady, chair of the 1922 Committee of Backbench MPs. If 54 MPs submit such letters to Sir Graham, it will trigger a vote on Mr. Johnson's leadership of the party. No, somebody is saying R is, there's a problem with R. No. You are saying that the most ominous sign, you are saying it should be is, right? But it's talk about the MPs, not about the ominous sign. So it should be R. The most ominous sign of Mr. Johnson in the process of are the MPs, not is the MPs. Sometimes what happens, the MPs will decide the verb, not the ominous sign. I'll give you one example. Whoever has said R, Danny Vijayabalan says R. The most important problem is the people. No, are the people, right? The most important problem are the people, not is the people, right? Okay, so if I ask a question to Danny, what is the most important reason or cause of increasing population? Danny, if I ask you a question, what is the most important cause of or the reason for increasing population? You will say the most important or the most crucial or the most alarming cause are the people. Getting a point? This way it should be are, not is. Okay? So now I won't say thank you, I'll go back. Now a session on how to score the maximum marks in English. Let me tell you. First of all, raise your hands. Who all will believe in what I say? Who all will trust me? Just raise your hands. Who all will trust me? Whoever will trust me, I'll tell you the process to get the highest marks. Okay, sir. Danny says okay. Those who will follow my ideas, my tips, my tricks will definitely succeed in improving English. Trust me. Yes, Danny says yes. Danny has said thrice he has said. Okay, I'll tell you. Whoever will say yes or no, I don't know, but I'll tell you the answer. Please raise your hands. I'm going to tell you how to score well. Score exceptionally well, I would say. Wait students, just wait. I'm getting a call. I cannot cut the call. Okay. Gibson Richard says, Jaya Bharati says, yes, Shivani says, Muthu Murugan. Okay, fine. So can you believe this fact? I had a group of 14 students way back in 2014, 2015. It was 2015, I remember. I made a group of 14 students. We used to sit from 8 a.m. in the morning till 3 p.m. in the afternoon continuously for 7 hours. We had a lunch break of it was not my student life. I was the teacher. I used to sit with these 14 students into a group of 8 and 6 girls and 8 boys. They had a different group. So what we did was, we solved all the previous year papers of error spotting of SSC. We solved all the previous year questions of SSC. You would say, sir, what are you saying? You're talking about banking exams and you're saying SSC. I'm not joking, students. Out of these 14 students, 9 qualified in SBI PO. Can you believe this? We used to solve common errors, fillers of all. For the first 1 month, we solved the complete set of previous year SSC questions. Because that builds your grammar, that builds your vocabulary. Trust me. So something which is a more basic thing, if you do it religiously, that will improve your understanding. Please accept my dictum or axiom or whatever you say. Please accept what my maxim. Please accept what I'm saying. First of all, solve all the questions of SSC at one go for the first month. Whenever you get time, solve 10 questions, 15 questions of error spotting. They are very small questions, right? Very small questions. So when you solve these these small questions for 1 hour or half an hour per day, after a period of 1.5 months, your grammar basics are strong. Now move to reading, because your vocabulary is already strong. Vocabulary, reading and grammar, these are 3 pillars. The 4th pillar is your guidance, right? So guidance, vocabulary, grammar and reading, these are the 4 pillars of a student success. So first of all, follow what I have said. Start solving previous year SSC papers. Don't jump directly into banking, SBI PO or IBPS PO. First complete the SSC previous year book. Many publications publish it, like Kiran Prakashan or Competition Success Review. They publish books like that. So take those books and solve all the SSC papers, all the questions I'm telling you. Trust me, active, passive, narration, everything you solve. Once you are adept in that, once you are qualified in that, post that, you start preparing for your banking papers. So you can take help from banking materials, whatever you have got, or read newspapers, and then add to your vocabulary. Grammar you don't need to improve because you have already done a lot of SSC questions. So your grammar is already up to the mark. Believe me, students, believe me. Out of 14, 9 students qualified in the SBI and they are working. Shantanu Singh is working in Chennai. If you want his numbers, I'll give you their numbers also. There's one Ujjwal guy, he was in Bihar. Many students have qualified and they are placed somewhere. So I'm telling you, trust me, solve SSC papers first to improve your English come up. You don't need to get, if you want to get 30 out of 30 or 28.75, then you need to follow this hard work process. Hard work will fetch you full marks. But if you just want to qualify, follow the normal procedure, learn some vocabulary, so I want you to score the maximum. It will require 6 months of rigorous hard work. 6 months of rigorous hard work. But you will ultimately qualify the exam. I have seen this happen. This magic happens in a matter of 3 months. If you have the analytical skills, if you have the brain, You need to work for some 4 months and then you'll qualify exam. So please start with this. Tomorrow we shall meet at 11 o'clock with the same brilliancy level of questions which we did today in the morning. We'll meet tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Don't miss the class, and post the class we will again meet tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Fine. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining me, and I love the session today. Thank you with all of you joining and contributing. Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Thanks a lot.